situations. Matt is having some. We had some issues on the computer, and so then we're bringing in an iPad and stuff, and so trying to get technical stuff. Like we told you, like when we start doing newer things, it seems until we've done it for quite some time, we have a lot of audio issues. That's like been our biggest thing, but we're gonna overcome them.
Well, someday we dream of being able to work together in person and record a lot, do lives together, and travel to each other because we can work from either of our houses. We have the equipment to do it. It would be so much easier for us in person because it would be less stressful for everybody.
So we want to thank everybody who is going to be joining us. If you're watching the replay of this, of course, we're always going to be live starting usually at 5 o'clock on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and also if you're on Twitch. We're on Twitch now, Matt. So you
So
can
am
stop
I.
playing. You can stop playing your games for a second. You can watch us on Twitch. So we keep adding things. Thankfully, Twitter is still going to be working. It seems they ended Periscope on like the first of the month, second of the month or so, and live streaming still works. So thankfully, they ended that, but everything is still connected. So you'll still be able to watch us on Twitter if you prefer to do that. But yeah, thank everybody for joining us. It is Friday. We made it through the week. It's in quite the week, but hopefully we'll get refreshed this weekend and start anew next week.
Yeah, let's try that. Yes, that.
we
Um,
uh, we didn't have any episodes this week, and so we always invite you to listen to some of our past episodes. We'll be picking back up again this coming week. Again, Tuesdays and Thursdays, available on YouTube. The videos you can watch, and also you can check them out on any podcast app that you prefer. But so Matt, this week, um, I thought was interesting. It's kind of exciting news, but the Johnson and Johnson vaccine got approved.
yes, the one shot. Yes, which is really good news. And I'm really glad you brought that up, which is really funny because Cody and I did not talk about what to talk about today. I did mean to say some stuff, but we got so into every audio and video problem that was happening across 3 or 4 devices at the same time. um, the Johnson and Johnson shot. There is in the news how they were talking about how it's only 60%, 66% effective, et cetera, et cetera. So we need to talk about what that means. That does not mean that the other 44 use, for example, 66%. It does not mean the other 44% of the time it's not available because it was tested in different conditions than Moderna and Pfizer, for example. What the 60 something percent means for the Johnson and Johnson shot was that this is a 66% chance to prevent moderate to severe symptoms. And that can mean things like fever, headache, hospitalization. It was like 100% effective against death
Yeah, no deaths.
and like needing like a ventilator, ICU, as the write up put it. It will 100% keep you out of the ICU, out of the morgue, and out of the hospital. Because generally, you don't need to go to the hospital for headache, fever, and like if your
Yeah,
chest hurts. It's only there is a certain level that it hits, and you're like, oh, we need to go to the hospital because even when you have like bronchitis or a cold, your chest can hurt.
yeah,
It's when you can't breathe that you should you obviously go to the hospital. But that's more what it means, and which is a really good thing because it's a one and done, which means we can vaccinate more people faster. I signed up for text alerts on my phone. Here in San Antonio, if you text vaccine to 55,000, it'll automatically sign you up for text alerts. Even though I'm not in a group that can be vaccinated right now, I thought it would be a good idea to just keep an eye on it, just so I know what's going on for my own, edification.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it's so exciting that finally, and I think, at first people were like scared off, like you were saying about that 60%. But again, would you rather get the virus or get it with this vaccine and not potentially die or get sick or go to the hospital? That's
Right. And
important.
it's important to note that, like, the flu shot, when you get the flu shot, some people complain, oh, I got sick anyway. Did you really? Or were you just having an immune reaction? Because that's what you're supposed to have. But even getting the flu shot, even if it's not the same flu, the right flu for the year, because they have to kind of guess which
Hmm.
one is it going to be, it will still minimize. Instead of being sick for 7 days, you might only be sick for 3 or 4. And instead of feeling like total death, you might still be able to get up and walk around. You're going to have a less severe, less extensive version of whatever's happening. And
Yeah.
it's looking, I mean, it does seem like the coronavirus, it might be here to stay. But here we are
Yeah.
with
I
it. But
mean,
a year
that's one of
later,
the
we're sitting here with a vaccine.
Yeah, that's the one thing that's really important about this vaccine, and like Moderna and Pfizer, and now this Johnson and Johnson, they all seem to do a better rate than what flu vaccines do, which already do a great job. But these are above and beyond the regular flu vaccines. Of course, that's changing each year. And Moderna and Pfizer vaccine also were not tested against a lot of the variants, and the Johnson and Johnson was, and that is why the number is a little bit lower. So if you were to retest Pfizer and Moderna vaccines under the current conditions with all these different variants, that number would most likely fall a little bit, just because, again, Johnson was tested among all these variants, especially like the Brazil variant and the South African variant, which are pretty um, strong variants. But yeah, I'm really excited about it because I think it's going to get us vaccinated quicker. Of course, this is great for areas that don't have large metropolitan areas, or if you don't live near metropolitan areas, because the Johnson and Johnson vaccine doesn't have to be refrigerated like the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines.
I
Um,
thought it needed similar conditions. I have to check.
I think not as low of
Oh,
temperature as
okay.
the Pfizer and Moderna vaccine.
Hmm.
It obviously has to be refrigerated, maybe, but not to the level. So like CVS or something would have the proper equipment to store
Yeah.
this, where
And the good
it's been
news is,
hard.
with it being a one shot, rather than, having everybody trying to figure out, get back to, a CVS, to their doctor, then now they don't have to worry about it. It's kind of like getting a flu shot. My niece, she is 27. She just got her first dose. I think she said Moderna the other day. And within 5 minutes, she said her arm was very, very sore. But she actually had one of the strains several months ago. Both her son, and her dad and stepdad, all four of them in the house managed to get it. He works for a corporation, and she works as a pharmacy tech.
Yeah,
But I mean, she did everything she could. She kept my nephew out of preschool. He's only 4, so he was in. I think it's preschool at 4 years old, right? That's right. So he
yeah,
was. She had taken
late
him
preschool.
out. Was trying to keep, work home, and same with her dad. They took every day they could to not be, to minimize risk. And I think one of her dad's coworkers eventually caught it from somebody who, I think everybody, it had just got them all four of them.
Mm,
And she didn't even know that's what she had, until she didn't know. Um, she ended up getting an antibody test 2 months later, and then it popped up, and she was like, okay. But the poor girl was miserable.
yeah, I bet
She
so.
FaceTimed me during that time and said that her dad started coming down with symptoms Thanksgiving Day, the day before the day of Thanksgiving, and she was her son was sick first. He started showing symptoms first and got better, and hers just went on for 3-4 weeks. I
Mm,
mean, I'm like, are you sure you want to talk right now? She's like, no, I just
yeah,
really, yes, I need to talk to you about something. And and she's trying to talk to me, and she clearly is in so much pain. I think she said the worst was for her was like the headache and the
mm,
congestion.
yeah,
um and the poor woman was miserable. I say girl, 'cause she's my niece, but
yeah,
poor woman was in hell with it. But she said her arm felt just awful, like,
yeah.
for the most of the first night.
And I think some people like get scared off of like getting vaccines because they hear about these side effects, but it's like you'd rather have the side effects than the actual disease, the virus and
Absolutely.
stuff.
I mean, I had
Because
chickenpox, and I would be happy. I have scars still. You know,
yeah,
I got it when I was 6. I will be 35 in May, and I have scars from it. I was incredibly sick with it. Like, I was supposed to go. We had some kind of like either a hat day or costume thing in first grade,
hmm
and I've been looking forward to it for weeks. And we were going to a family friend's house for dinner, and I remember my mom was starting to get me out of the car, and my stepdad was like, "What's on his face?" And when they turned the car lights on, I guess I had spots on my
oh my
cheeks,
gosh.
and they were like calling for our friends. I remember my dad like yelling for them, like, "Hey, we think Matt's got chicken pox. We have to turn around and go home." And by the next morning, I was just covered. So
Um,
yeah, I would have given anything to not have that. And I also, if you remember, I got all my vaccines for nursing school. The first
I know you got like so many.
most of 2020. So I had blood work done to see what I was still immune to. The only one I'm immune to was chickenpox. So I had to have a flu shot, tetanus, diphtheria, or Tdap, um, hepatitis A and B, and the A actually turned reactive. I had blood work done recently for the Stratera, and on my lab notes, it's like, was he recently vaccinated for Hep A because it's reactive? And I was like, yes, I was.
The
But
one thing about the Johnson and Johnson vaccine is that it seems to be less chances for side effects versus the Moderna and Pfizer vaccine, and a lot of the side effects occurred in ages 18 to 59. That's the age range. Those older than 60 didn't seem to have as much of a side effects. So if you're older, it works out great. Again, we want to thank everybody for joining us for our live stream here every Friday at 5 o'clock. You can come join me and Matt as we talk about what's happened this week, what's happening in our lives. Did we make it? Did we survive? And some exciting things we're looking forward to the weekend. Of course, we're streaming on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and on Twitch now. So many options for you to choose from. And if you are watching, please comment and interact
yeah,
with us. We want to
please.
interact with you. Share it on your social media sites so that other people can find out about this and check us out. Because that is how people find out about it, is because they see you talking about it online, and then they join us. Another thing concerning the vaccine, Matt, happening in LA is that if you are an essential worker, you can now get the vaccine. So essential workers are also being included in the group of people who do like Uber Eats and Uber deliveries.
Yay!
Um, and
Finally.
there is some controversy about this in that we are having some people, some younger people, it seems, who are signing up to do Uber Eats so that they can get the vaccine. And so there's a little bit of controversy surrounding that because they've not been doing Uber Eats, and they literally are just signing up to get, I guess, to get the vaccine and stuff.
Right. But then there's always going to be people who don't get the vaccine. So it's one of those things. At some point, we just I'm I would obviously prefer people didn't do that. But if they are signing up to work for Uber Eats, then at some point, just it's going to happen, and we just got
Yeah,
to, as long as it's moving forward.
yeah. Well, I kind of felt that way a little bit because it's like I understand like why you could be a little upset that they might be taking a vaccine away from somebody who really needs the vaccine. Ultimately, we all really need the vaccine, but we are kind of like in a situation where like it's best to get it out as to many people as possible.
Right.
The problem with it, and I think the thing that people have some problems with that particular issue, is that it can prevent people in lower income areas or people who don't have access to the internet from getting the vaccine. And this is widespread. It's not
Right.
particular to
Oh
the Uber
yeah. I
issue, but
think we all
obviously,
knew. Yeah, we
um,
all knew this was going to happen.
yeah.
It was just in what form was it going to take, and that's what seems to have happened. But then the other thing is this our age range of 18 to 45 were massive carriers because elderly people and really small children are pretty much in the same one or two environments. Our
hmm
age group, we're the ones going to the grocery store, going to doctor's offices, going we're able, so that means we're more likely to be up and around. So we're, even if the symptoms aren't terrible for us or killing us in such numbers, we're transmitting it to tons of people, and you can still carry it with, um, you know, uh, even being vaccinated. But the hope is that, of course, if we get our elderly and more susceptible members vaccinated first, if we're carrying to them, then they're not as either not feeling the symptoms, or it's
Hmm.
not bothering them, or it becomes more manageable. But I'm glad you brought that up. So that was yay.
Yeah, I actually saw something recently. I'll have to see if I can find it later, and we can talk about it tomorrow in our live stream. But that it seems now that one of the largest groups of people who are getting COVID are actually like younger kids,
Mhm.
and so that'll be interesting to watch and see where that goes. Obviously, we had been leveling out. It seems like we've hit a plateau on that, and so our numbers are continuing to stay where they are. And hopefully it doesn't get worse because obviously, as we talked about recently, the mask issues in Texas and Mississippi recently, um, where the governor of Texas and governor of Mississippi was like, no more mask, everybody just work.
Yeah. So on that note, so Governor Abbott, that is governor of my state, um, he declared that. Now, his statement also included, "This is not a substitute for common sense. You should still be washing your hands and be aware. And if you have symptoms, take care of yourself." However, he ended the mask mandate and said all restrictions are up. Everybody can go back to full dining. Everything this coming week, as
Mm-hmm.
in, see, today's Friday, so starting, I believe it starts Monday. However, so I attend a group of colleges known as the Alamo Colleges, as well as one of the schools. They've already
Mm-hmm.
texted all of us and said, "Hi, that's nice. We're following CDC guidelines, and everybody is still required to wear a mask." Target also issued guidance to all of us saying, "Hey, I don't care what they say. We're going by CDC. You still have to wear a mask to come in the stores." My only fear is that um, harassing employees and attacking employees, and it really scares me because I remember being a teenager and I've been yelled at and scared and cornered by people who were mad about a policy that like, I'm just there,
Yeah, I
at the
mean,
time making my 650 an hour getting screamed at. So I worry for these kids, and young people that are going to get attacked by these crazy people.
yeah,
So
I
I
mean, because
hope
the
hope.
deal is these people are crazy. There's no other word for them. It's like the whole like bringing like this piece of paper that says they don't have to wear a mask because of a medical condition. I don't think these people also understand like businesses can do whatever they want, you
Yeah, this
know.
is private
So
property. That's
the
how this
governor,
works.
saying this is more applying to state properties and like is preventing local municipalities and cities from enacting mask mandates because there were certain cities like Austin and some in the Metroplex and certain or other areas that were mandating um, masks. And this act by the governor prevents these municipalities from enacting their own mask mandates. So it's just so crazy. But yeah, speaking of like the whole thing about people thinking they're going to be able to go into these stores and not wear a mask or whatever, there was an article that came out just this week also talking about incidences that were occurring. And this is not going to surprise you, Matt, because it just happens every day in general. But with the mask issue, it's an issue. But like at Disney World, apparently there was an issue where some guy, I think, was going into the Contemporary Hotel there at Disney World, and someone, a Disney employee, said, "You need to wear a mask." And he's like, "I'm a guest here." And then there was back and forth a little bit, and the guy spit on uh, the Disney employee. And it's like, really? First of all, these are adults. Like, why are we acting this way? But like, you're gonna spit on somebody, like that's an issue. First of all, because this is a virus that is spread in this form. So to do something like that, I was like,
That's
oh,
gross. I watched a guy punch my manager in the back at Disney. The guy wanted a booth, and we just didn't have one available.
yeah.
Because Disney is still a restaurant. And when my manager turned around to try to like walk the guy away, the guy punched him in the back. And my manager was in his mid 50s, was an older man. And I was like, what the hell? Um, I had a guy like so I was standing at the edge of his table and he like got really mad and he hit.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd served butternut squash soup on like a, in a soup cup thing sitting on a saucer. And when he sloshed it like at me, I just happened to move just enough to where it missed me, but it would have landed right in my lap. And like I was standing up, so it would have hit me right
Mm-hmm.
in the waist and legs. And I just happened to move. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you, sir?
Wow.
I had a guest get thrown out. One of my guests was thrown out because he followed me into the kitchen, screaming at me over chicken nuggets. His family was so embarrassed. I think the guy was just, I don't know if there was something else maybe going on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so they, this dumbass followed me into the, I was like, sir, please don't. Okay. And I didn't know he was right behind me until I was literally opening the door to the kitchen. They're one-way doors. So I walked through holding my tray of stuff. I was like, oh God, sir, don't. And he burst into the kitchen yelling at me and my manager, who was a lesbian. You've never seen a Disney manager actually lose their shit. When they do actually lose their shit, it is legendary. I was so scared because anything I do can cost me my job. I am
Mm-hmm.
probably 20 when this happened, so 14 years ago, and I probably weigh all of 105 pounds. And um, yeah, I, I was terrified because people do punch employees, they swing at us. And I'm carrying a full armload of dirty dishes, glasses,
Yeah.
knives, trays, everything. And this guy has burst into screaming. My manager, and I was like, Debbie, help. And she's like, the hell is wrong with you? Then she sees as the whole scene unfolds, the whole staff is here. There is the kitchen staff, the line cooks. This is where we pick up our food and run it. And she was across that kitchen and he was yelling at me as I'm trying to get away from him, set my stuff down. And she got in between us and was in his face telling him to get the hell out of her kitchen. And this is not going to happen because it's also, I'm wearing non-slip shoes. In the
Mm-hmm.
kitchen areas, grease and stuff gets on our floor. So I'm not going to fall. But I have walked across those floors in my tennis shoes. When I left some stuff upstairs once after I'd already changed into casual clothes, and I skated right across the floor. So if a guest falls back there because we let them back there, we could be sued.
Yeah.
And she tossed his ass out. Orange County Police came and walked him out, and he had to stand outside the parks all day. And it was the only guest I ever saw physically get removed in my presence.
Yeah.
And
I'm,
Chris is my friend Chris Pettis is here. Yay. So a coworker doesn't wear a mask saying they already had COVID, have antibodies. Thoughts. So even if you don't get it, it's the same reason as like if I get vaccinated and I'm 100% vaccinated and go to Cody's house, Cody, Justin, and their roommate Gabe, if they're not vaccinated and I go there and I have COVID, even though I don't have, it's the same as me being asymptomatic. Well, I don't feel it. I can still give it to them. You're
mm-hmm.
still able to give it to people that are more susceptible.
Well, and then also the other thing is there's different variants, so you could catch multiple variants over periods of time.
Right.
So just because you had it once doesn't mean that you might
So
not
yeah,
catch these other
the
variants.
coworker is just arrogant. But the better thing to do is like, well, we go for her immunity. So if I'm visiting Cody and say all three of them have been vaccinated and I have not, then it's more likely that I'm totally fine if I were to go to their house and spend a month there. Because it's more likely that even if one of them picks up something, or I do, it would be unlikely that the other three would be affected or not affected other than by the common cold, which is also a
Mm-hmm.
coronavirus, because you notice the symptoms are similar, but you never catch the same common cold twice, even if they have similar symptoms.
And it seems that the vaccines actually offer some better protection as far as antibody buildup than if you've already had the virus. Um, but yeah, Matt would not be entering this house unless he showed me his vaccine card that he had gotten the vaccine. No enter. Otherwise, you're going to stay in the garage for 2 weeks to do that.
Did
Speaking
they lower
of,
it to 10 days?
they did, but
Cody's like, you know what? Let's take it 3 weeks just to be sure.
Speaking of Disney and Disney World, also going to the Orange County in California. That I always thought that was interesting that Disney World is in Orange County and Disneyland's in Orange County, different states. But Orange County in California tends to also be a little bit less wearing mask area of California, but it's also home of Disneyland, where today it was announced that Disneyland will be opening up. Coming on April 1st, the state of California is now allowing theme parks to open in California. That includes Disneyland, Universal Studios,
Are you gonna
Knott's Berry
go?
Farm, and et cetera, et cetera. No, I'm not going to be
Are
going.
you waiting till you're vaccinated?
Yeah. Well,
When
here's
you're
the deal.
vaccinated, will you go?
So here's the deal. Um, I think April 1st might be a little too soon. I would have at least waited till like May or June, but I don't know. I don't see the data, so there could be some data showing that that is safe. That's the thing. None of these states have ever released any like good data to the public to show whether home restrictions or restaurant restrictions or whatever were fully actually working, and so it's hard to tell. But
Here in Texas, half the time they didn't even follow them. Like,
I know. So
uh,
it's hard to say, but no, I will not be going. The first off, I don't have a season pass anymore because they canceled everybody's season passes in California. So
oh, that's
anybody in
right.
California who is going to Disneyland is going to be paying for a full price ticket. And so the majority of
That's
people,
ugly.
there's like over 1 million people who had Disneyland passes. So a good number of the people who were at Disneyland on a day-to-day basis were season pass holders. But these people, they announced something that was happening at California Adventure, and it was like a food kind of event. No rides would be open, and that thing was sold out. Like, and people were paying $75 for this to just eat, to pay to eat. This doesn't include the food. You're paying $75 to get in the door to then be able to uh, pay to eat more food. But you know, Disney people can be crazy sometimes. But no, I'm not going to be
Oh
going because I
yeah.
don't want to. I don't want to pay full price. I'm just not going to do that because that's expensive. Yeah, I want to give it some time. I want to give it some time. Even if I'm vaccinated, I wouldn't go. I'm still going to be cautious. I'm going to still wear a mask.
Oh yeah.
Um, and so I think it would be next year before I actually end up going. We'll see how the fall goes.
I
I think
actually
I'll
don't
probably
mind
end up.
wearing a mask. I have to tell you that if I could have worn a mask in high school, because my scars, for me, my scars were more prevalent, and of course, the days that you have acne, and um, it could just be a mask offers some privacy that is just like, thank you for not looking at me.
The other day I was talking like so when I eat Oreos, like it gets all stuck in your teeth. I was like, I can just put a mask now. I don't have to accidentally wear it. Oh my god, did I get the cookie in my mouth and it won't come out?
Whenever I'm eating anything with like chopped greens in it, it's like, hi everyone. You know,
um,
yeah.
some other fun, interesting. It seems like we're on a COVID kick today, but this one's cute. Um, the gorillas at the San Diego Zoo have been vaccinated for coronavirus. It's the first time that apes have been immunized against it, and so they vaccinated some orangutans and some gorillas and some other species. Of course, in mid-January, some gorillas at the safari park here actually got COVID. It seems they got it from a zookeeper had gotten it, and then they got it from the zookeeper. And so this is the first time they've been
That
vaccinated, and ultimately, um, hopefully it will prevent them from getting sick, because that would be really sad. But I thought that was some interesting news.
no, that is really interesting. It's really funny that I yeah, we ended up on a COVID kick, which was not the intention. But um our Friday show is more fun in the sense that the late show on Saturday, if whether we do it Saturday or Sunday, is more relaxed and wildly inappropriate. But this one we kind of get to talk about the week, and I apologize if my camera keeps moving because I had to use David's iPad, so I'm kind
I
of not
know
here.
David was so nice. Thank David so much.
Well,
I
so
got to
David
see
turned
David
on
today.
yeah, David turned on the camera, was all like
I was like, okay, Matt, move. We got a new
yeah,
host.
they traded me in for a younger host, and David's like, "Is that even in the budget?" Like, shut up, we don't have a budget. Like, not because it's like unlimited, but I mean literally because one doesn't exist. Because like,
We want to thank everybody who is joining us. If
Yeah.
you're joining us, if you're here live, if you're watching this replay, we did have a little bit of a rough start. So we did debut a new intro. I don't know if I want to chance it. We might chance it at the end and see what happens, so everybody can see it. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
But
blaming Matt's equipment. Okay,
yeah, so
mine's still
Cody made
working.
a really cool intro though for this one, and then he made a completely different one for our late night show,
Yeah,
which
tune in tomorrow night.
can't. I'm actually really excited to see it. I played it back for David. David gets previews of stuff, which is really funny because David is so like about most things. So I'm like, David, look at this. He's like, that's cool. So I have to like pull him aside and like look at this. But I was actually looking forward to this. We had yesterday was not uh, a great day.
You've had
Um,
a rough week. It was a rough week.
uh, it was I Cody texted me last night. How are you doing? And I was like, I'm not really having a good moment. And I'm going to talk about it only because I think it's something that applies to all of us. It's something I don't talk about often. I don't really talk about whenever I'm sad because I would rarely classify my emotions as to the point where I'm sad about something. So David went and took. So we went back to the gym this week as well, which has presented its own physical challenges because we've been out for 3 months. But we have finally found some space to be able to go when it's quiet late at night again. So at 1 o'clock in the morning, using the bench press, that's great. So last night, David took a bath, and I was playing Mario Party on the Switch by myself and having a great time. Finished up the game, and I decided to watch YouTube, which is one of my favorite things ever because we have YouTube Premium or Red or whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of the few things I'm willing to pay for. And I'm watching like compilation videos of like somehow like puppies like came along, and I was like, oh, I love puppies.
Oh yes, this
And
story.
yeah, Cody.
There was a lot that happened, so I didn't know this is what we were talking about.
Yeah, like, um, yeah, I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about it, but I thought it'd be a good idea. So, I'm watching this compilation, and the compilation was people presenting their husbands and boyfriends and partners with the puppy they always wanted. And a lot of it was like spouses who were like not really dog friendly per se, or like, we can't afford a dog, we can't have a dog, various
Mm-hmm.
reasons. And then finally got to the point where they could have said dog for whatever reason and surprised them with it. So, I was watching it and I'm just like, oh my God, these people are meeting their besties for like the first time. Cause your dog is your best friend
Mm-hmm.
when they're your dog. And I got like randomly, it just like hit me like a freaking train. And I got super emotional. And I went from, oh my God, this is so cute. Oh my God, I'm gonna have to show this to like Cody or something. And then like 2 seconds later, I am full on ugly cry. I mean, full on tears streaming down my face. I am sobbing. I am red faced. I'm like, what is wrong with me? But I just really miss my dog, and she's been gone a year and a half, and I guess I'm really not over it apparently, and I miss her terribly. I think about her a lot, but not no.
Mm-hmm.
I'm past that point of being sad every time I think about her. I mostly just think about her like, oh my God, what a funny thing, or this picture that I came across, but I just had this moment and I just was so upset. And I just literally could not stop crying for a good, I would say 5 or 10 minutes, which is very, very unusual for me, which is one of the reasons I wanted to talk about it because I think a lot of people experience grief in different ways and it comes on in different forms and will hit at different times. And I'm totally cool with it. I have no problems admitting it. It just was surprising to me. And I felt better after. And then Cody texted me a bit later. So David walks out of the shower. He's like, hey. I was like, oh, how was your bath? As my face is like bright red. And just, sitting here eating this pizza, watching YouTube with puppies, and I ended up just taking like a 2-hour nap or something. Just went right to sleep. I didn't say anything to
Mm-hmm.
David. And then I woke up. And as I woke up, I'm still processing this in my head. And then Cody texted, and David's watching something on his iPad that I'm currently on. And then I'm trying to explain to Cody, like, the ridiculousness of the situation, but like how upset I was because I thought it was a healthy thing to, you need to talk these things out. Like
Yeah.
clearly it was in my head. I need to get it out of my head. I need to talk about it. So I talked to Cody about it. And when I started to tell David, I was like, so you may have noticed I took a 2-hour nap out of nowhere and didn't want to talk and just shut down completely. And he goes, oh my God, which one of your family members called? And I'm like, well, that is a very fair question because earlier in the day, my family had in turn in 3 different times upset me greatly. And while we were in the middle of running errands and trying to get everything done, and like yesterday was the first day we were actually able to buy bread for the first time in 2 weeks. So we still have, there's other things happening, and so I think I was just super sensitive from that and just the other 50 things that have happened. And normally, what I would have done is just come home and read a book or watch TV, and the dog would lay on me or chill with me. And that's just something that I would have quietly done and not talked about with anybody. I was kind of emotionally dependent on my dog. And so I tell David what happened. He's like, oh, and because I mean, David was her human. Like, she may have been my dog, but the sun rose and set with David and Cammy. Like, I was chopped liver if he was around. If he wanted to do something, she was like, this guy, the one that rescued me from the shelter, hell with him. I want to go hang out with the other one, But I just thought it was important to talk about and share with everybody that I'm totally fine, by the way. It was clearly in my head, and for many people, I don't think they understand that I do have emotions like everybody else. I just don't express them the same. I don't express them the way that people, I think, would expect me to. Because Cody and I struggle with this sometimes when he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, yes, I'm fine. It's 68 degrees outside, and I'm sad about this and this, but I'm happy about that. And he's like,
oh,
do you want to talk about one of those things? And I can just see you on your end of the phone, like, dude, so are you saying you want to talk about it, or are you just commenting? I'm like, no, I'm good. I did. We just talked about it. And you're like, yeah, I can literally see you trying to work it out. So it's true. I am a bit detached, so I don't express myself probably the way people expect me to. And I tend to just tell you in fact form. Like, I casually tell Cody things, and he's like, I'm worried about you.
Just need to like shake him.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, I'm fine, really. But when I'm not fine, I've worked really hard on this, that when I'm not fine, to be honest with my close friends and people in my life that, no, I'm not okay, and this is what happened, and this is how I reacted. Because they may not have anything to say, they may feel really awkward, but it doesn't help. Like, Cody and I are very close, but it doesn't help him if I don't verbalize to him what hurts. He can't listen actively and participate the way I participate with him if he doesn't know what hurts. So since Cody puts himself out there to tell you guys, sometimes when he has events that he'll kind of lean to me for, I do lean on Cody. Just, it's in a different form, but it's the same way, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I thought that would be an interesting thing to share.
Well, it's something maybe to cheer anybody up. It's another pet video, I know. Again, just real quick, we want to thank everybody who is joining us here. We do have someone watching on Twitch. I'm not sure who that is, but hi.
I got a Twitch yesterday, by the way.
You did?
Yeah.
Are you going to play games for everybody?
I might. I like to play games. I thought it'd be really funny because I make weird noises when I'm not paying attention. I think I do this all the time. I've been told I do this all the time, but I don't hear it until I hear recordings of myself, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. But you usually seem amused by it, and David has tuned it out at this point after this.
He's like, oh my God, there's so many noises.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the video. This is a cat video.
Oh, God.
I saw this on TikTok the other day.
I hope it's cute.
Crackhead, ay, I'm a crackhead, ay, I'm a crackhead, ay, I want you already. Hey.
He literally is pouring the water out of his waterer.
What a dick.
I forgot that it was singing I'm a crackhead. Then I saw Salem after I saw that, and I was like, oh my God, yes.
Simon, my tiger cat, he used to wait till he had a fear of trash cans. So we adopted Simon when he was about a year-ish old. He was brought in as a lost cat or a stray. So I think he was somebody's cat because when he was found, he was declawed. So I think he was somebody's cat that either got left behind or lost or something. But nobody ever claimed him. And I did search on the websites and seeing if anybody ever posted anything looking for a lost tiger cat in the area we live, which was a very small area, and nobody had. So, but he was terrified of trash cans. So he would walk around the house and knock them over if he had access to them. So if you ever visit or if you've been to my house, you'll notice like I always keep doors closed and trash cans like in like hidden places where they can hardly be moved. It's a leftover thing from Simon when we had him. So for 10 years, and also you know how you have like the water, we have an automatic water thing now that you just fill up and it moves it. But we used to have one of those, you fill it up, turn it upside down, and it feeds the water into it. Yeah, I had to stop having those because Simon would walk over and knock them over. So I would find, and they hold a good half, some of them, most of them hold
a lot of water
half a gallon
sometimes.
of water. So I have found a half gallon to a gallon of water on a kitchen floor in the living room. And I don't know if maybe somebody beat him with one or something scared him, because otherwise he was a very like he was a cat. You pick him up, he put his paws around you, or you could hold him. You could hold him like a baby or put him over your shoulder or, you know, wrap him around your neck. He was very friendly and cuddly, but there were just weird tics and things he had that just stressed him out. So we couldn't leave doors open to vent out rooms because whatever it was, he would find the trash can and you would hear it in the house. Like you would just hear a trash can hit a wall because he had a really, so his paws were, when he flexed them out, they were the size of my hand. It was the size of the palm of my hand, which doesn't say a lot because I have like baby hands, but I am a grown adult, you know? And his flexed out paw, he would get a hold of things and shake it and rattle until he either broke it, opened it, or knocked it over, or beat it hard enough that he was satisfied. And I could never figure out why. There was nothing other than, and he didn't like meow if you put him in front of a trash can or if you walked by. He would just walk up, hit it until it broke or fell over.
Yeah.
And then leave the room. Like he was satisfied, and he didn't pick anything out of the trash can. It could be empty or full. He didn't pick stuff out of it.
Just wants to dump it over.
He would just knock it over, all the crap out of it, and walk away. Like,
Salem would have eaten it all. The other day I had like saran wrap on top of a bowl. I had some pizza dough proofing, and he didn't get the dough. He went and ate like almost half the saran wrap that was on top. I was like, oh my gosh. He's the one I have to watch out for because he does that. It's like that day this a while back where he ate like the chocolate chip cookies. He had pulled them out, but then ate a lot of the bag. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, he did come from outdoors, so he had to like live, but it's like, okay, girl, you get all the food you want now. You need to stop. You need to stop doing that. We're getting towards the end here. So I guess I'm going to attempt to play the intro, but I'm not going to cover the whole screen. So if you're here,
that's a good idea.
You can see what you missed. Maybe we'll see. I don't know if it's going to play, but we'll see. Well, there it is. We made it. I think can we still hear you, Matt? Can we still hear you? Oh my God, we can. I can hear you. Yes. It worked. I don't know. I think we had some bad juju at the beginning with your computer. It was like, I'm not cooperating today.
Yeah, I think something's actually wrong with so I have a MacBook Air. I got it just as 2020, but I actually think something might be wrong with it, and I'm like, come on, I don't have time for this.
Well, it was so weird because last week when we recorded a podcast, when we recorded the Tulsa Massacre podcast, which if you haven't checked that out, check it out, of course, available wherever you get your podcast, or it's available on YouTube. You can check out that on there. But when we were recording that, there's a whole segment of that where I could not hear Matt at all. I could see him talking, so I just let him talk, and then it never came back.
Yeah, we recorded it 8 or 9 times.
And so he finally recorded it. Yeah, he finally recorded it at his house. um, and then sent me the audio separately. And so that's why you hear Matt talk for a whole like middle part of it, basically talking about what happened. It's because I couldn't hear him and it wouldn't work. But then we did last Saturday, we did the late night, super late night show, and it worked perfect. You didn't go out at all, and except towards the end. The
Yeah, the
end.
end I started having all sorts of problems, and I did check. David was not even online. He'd been gaming. He was playing Final Fantasy 14 online the whole time until the very last hour, and in the last 20 minutes, we had nothing but problems, and everybody thought it was hilarious. And I'm getting frustrated because we're trying to like Cody thinks it's the funniest thing ever. And one of my pet peeves is repeating myself because people used to think it was funny to make me repeat myself because I have speech issues. I can tell you, having speech issues and having to repeat yourself over and over, it's mentally exhausting because I'm trying to remember what I said and how I said it. And it's not natural to me to do that. Like, it's still not natural to me. So having to even repeat myself to Cody, who knows how I talk, I still am like,
Yeah, it was a complete meltdown because even your video, like normally your video doesn't usually go away. Usually it's just audio sometimes.
yeah.
But he was completely it was like he was like on dial up. But
Yeah,
yeah,
and
so it's weird. It's like in and out. Like we
this
went
has been
hours.
fun.
We went
So I think it's actually my Air. Yeah, Chris had commented that he got a MacBook Pro in January of 2020 and having all kinds of issues. My other MacBook Pro from 20, I got it the first week of 2016, and it just started kind of having problems this last year. I think it just kind of needs help, but we're going to test that one. Actually, I'm probably going to test it after we are done here. But oh gosh, excuse me. Oh, one of the things of life, you just hiccup sometimes. Sorry. Uh, but oh my gosh, it's been so frustrating. But other than this last week or two, oh god, oh no, with
they're coming.
the air happening, having Wi-Fi issues. I never have problems with it around the house. I use it for literally everything. It's only streaming with Cody at certain points, and then once it starts, if I reset the internet of the house, it works fine, but every other device works. So we tested it on a couple of devices. So we're going to test it with multiple computers and multiple laptops. And I have a PC laptop that I actually do all my writing on. I have 3 laptops, and that was not intentional because my Pro started to break. And David's like, so for my birthday, he got me a PC that I could just have Word on and write my book. And then thinking to take the pressure off of it so I'd have a place to go where I wasn't doing school and I could just decompress with my other laptop. Then he was like, okay, we can't afford for your Pro to break because we can't go spend $2,000 on a computer. We're both unemployed right now.
Yeah.
So when this went on like a major sale or whatever, he was like, hey, Merry Christmas for like 3 years here. Like, yeah, we had quite a day. I returned my car the other day, and that was fun. Oh, Cody, I got some clarification on that, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So Cody texted me while I was returning my car, and so I leased my car. We own David's, we leased mine. Mine was a 2017 BMW 3 Series, and so I returned it 2 years ago on an exit, literally the next freaking exit from my house. David he cracked his windshield, then a few months later broke it again, and then 2 weeks after that broke mine. So both of his cracks turned into breaks and they had to replace it. It spidered. Mine, they were able to repair because it didn't actually break the glass. It just cracked the outside. So it was real small. It's like the size of a pencil, like an eraser head. And I knew this was going to happen. My deductible was only $100, but they would not replace it. They absolutely would not replace it because, I mean, it was at the very bottom near the dashboard, didn't affect vision at all, and it was patched, but you could see aesthetically the damage. So BMW gets it back, and they're like, yeah, so that's $600. I'm like, awesome. And it's not their fault because if I was reselling a car that I let somebody drive for 3 years, yeah, who's going to buy a car with a cracked looking windshield? I know how windshields work because I'm a licensed claims adjuster, including for the state of Texas. But most people are not and would not know that the windshield's perfectly fine and it's not in danger. The integrity is fine. And so I knew that was going to happen, but the insurance company, I was not happy. And I knew it was going to happen. They're like, that's not going to happen. I'm like, you fucking assholes. I was not happy. Next thing, then the lady goes, oh, you also need brake flush and oil change. And I knew it was time for maintenance, but my lease ends next week. And it's actually next week. In 2 weeks is the time for my annual maintenance because you do it once a year and it's included with BMW. And my maintenance was included. Apparently, it ran out in August, and I didn't know that. They're like, well, the lady was like, well, you can take it somewhere else and have it done anywhere you want and bring it back. Well, we live 40 minutes away from that dealership now. And we took one car out there because we were only just able to fill up one car with gas the other day. And it was like took 2 days to find a gas station. So we were like, nope, we're taking an Uber home. Screw it, just keep it. And she goes, okay, well, it's like $760. And I was like, excuse me? And Matt got upset. And this is very rare. I don't get angry. And she's like, sir, I'm sorry. And she is and David's like, stop talking. And David's like, it's okay. Like, cause they auto drew one last payment out of my account. So the difference is I'm only going to actually pay very little.
Yeah.
But the actual bill, the entire bill is $760, not $600 and $760. Because I was like, what did you just say? I know BMW prices because I also approve those repairs too because I handle all cars. I was freaking livid. But she didn't bother to clarify that it was not 2 charges. The $760 was everything in one. So $150 for maintenance, essentially $150 for maintenance. A little pricey for an oil change, but with the oil change and a few other things they did, actually it falls right in the range of what it should have been for once a year. I was just peeved that I'm like, it's still technically my car until I sign this over. Can you guys just do it? I'll stay here and wait. But so I'm not going to have to pay $1,300 or $1,400. I only owe $600 or $700, and $600 of it is the windshield, which I'm not actually upset with BMW for it. I'm upset with my insurance company because that is nonsense. But it's whatever. But that happened right before my family got to me, right before, it was just like 48 hours of, because usually Cody and I talk and he's like, hey, how's your day? I'm like, oh, it's fine, doing this, doing that, just normal. And so I felt so bad because you're like, how's your day? And I'm like, trying not to have an aneurysm. Why? How are you doing, Cody? How do you feel?
Yeah. Well, hopefully you'll get refreshed this weekend. We do want to remind everybody tomorrow night at 9 to 9:30. We might get on early, who knows, but we'll be on for sure by 9:30 Pacific time.
Which is good? 11:30 my time?
10:30.
10:30 my time?
No, 11:30.
Yeah.
So 11. We'll try to aim for like 11 to 11:30 Central.
Yeah, well, so we did try that last week, but we had some issues that kind of forced us to keep it going a little longer. So by the end of it, Cody's like, yay, we're doing it. I'm like, yeah, let's log on and do this though. Like, we
had so many people join us. It was so fun. I think that was
funny.
It was our most streamed.
Yeah, I think it was 8 to 10 people or something.
People just like to be up like at 1 a.m.
Yeah, it felt kind of good. I was like, y'all make me feel like I have my shit together because my sleep schedule is screwed from last week and it's still not really recovered. So I'm like, wow, well, this is fantastic. Yay, there's people up. I'm going to go see where the people are,
Super late night with me and Matt tomorrow at like 9 or 9:30 Pacific. So like 11:30 Central, midnight Eastern. So that will be fun. We'll leave out Mountain.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Is anybody in Mountain? Hopefully you do join us. We want everybody to join us. Also, you can be sure and remember, you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Cody Rodriguez. He's at I am Poetic AF. I'm at Cody Rodriguez is on everything basically. So Instagram, whatever. And on TikTok, I'm at John Cody Rodriguez, JOHN. Matt has a TikTok, but he hasn't.
I don't have any videos yet. I'm working on that. I downloaded TikTok and I did download Twitch. I have a TikTok account, but I haven't decided what it's going to be yet. So I'll get to all that. And on Twitch, I am probably going to start gaming. I love to game. So it is something I didn't get to do as a kid. I did, but I was always told, you're going to grow out of it. You're not going to be able to do this, or you have to be an adult. I'm like, you know what? I've managed school and everything else, I've managed to escape to games periodically.
Yeah.
But, so you guys can watch me play. I play everything from racing games to action games, storylines, Final Fantasy games, zombie games. So if you guys want me to set it on like a really hard level or play some Resident Evil and scare the hell out of myself, you can hear some effeminate screaming while I'm running from zombies with limited ammo.
Well, that will be fun. And so we're also on Twitch now. We're streaming live on Twitch this podcast episode, and all the stuff will be streaming to all of these things. So it'll be fun to check out. Again, tomorrow at 9:30 Pacific time, we will for sure be on doing whatever. It's late night, so we just chat and talk, and then bring some topics, play some games. We interact with you a lot, which is fun, and so that's the whole goal of that.
If you're bored or lonely, was one of the things we wanted to do. Was it was a way for us to communicate with everybody and kind of do something a little different, and rather than like a scripted event per se, other than like just opening up and just kind of being there. So so that you can have somebody else to talk to and hang out with us. And a couple people I did talk to said they really liked it and had a lot of fun because we don't all know each other, and some of us know each other in person. I know several of you in person, actually, which is really funny. And I think one of our people realized some of us interact with each other, but it was like, I only know one or two of them in person. I just, I feel like I'm one of those people. I've never really met a stranger. Whether that's good or bad, I don't really know. But
Matt was the one who got into the car with somebody.
No, I'm an arm's length person. Like, never met a stranger at a coffee shop kind of thing.
So again, thank you everybody for joining us. Be sure and share this link when it's over with your friends, or tell them about it. Tell them to join you and us tomorrow evening. It'll be fun. We'll go ahead and end this with the intro that I showed a little bit ago. And we hope all of you have a great Friday. Be sure WandaVision tonight. I'm watching it. Oh my God, I'm so excited. It's the last episode. Matt hasn't watched it. Block came out.
We're going to watch it. David came up to me today after I was getting out of the shower, and he goes, I was thinking about watching WandaVision. I was like, it's really funny. I was actually going to tell you that tonight because everybody's talking about it, and I finally have some time to dedicate to that too. So,
well, I can't wait to see what you hear or what you think about it. It's going to be exciting.
I'm sure it'll be fun. I'm sure
we'll see everybody tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.